So everyone, we want to welcome El Cid, or Wazi, so thanks so much. We just showed a film on Christo. Not that your work is the same, but it was a film about public art. So I think Wazi has done a lot. He's got a great amount of both personal art and also public art. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the process of making public art and how that works in your sphere, what you've been doing. And first of all, your work is truly amazing and inspiring. But let's talk a little bit about, tell everyone, how do you get a project, like a big public art project? How do you get it going? And you could talk, for example, for the one in Cairo or other projects.
First it starts with an idea, so it means a subject that I want to speak about. If there is any theme that I think are important for me to talk, I focus on it. Then I try to find the place, where the subject is relevant. For example, I give you the project in Cairo. I wanted to speak about perception. I think all of us in our life, we at some point have been perceived in the wrong way. When I say in the wrong way, it means like by people judging us, based on their own paradigm, their own image of the reality. So I knew about the Cairo garbage collector, community, and I knew actually they were, they have developed the most powerful recycling system in the world. They recycle 80% of what they do, but still, because their image is associated with trash, they marginalize, they segregated, and they perceive as dirty, So I was like, I would love to see what I can do there, and then the way the city of Manshiat Nasser is built, the Cairo garbage collector, the way it's built, it was perfect for me to create an anamorphic piece, a piece that you can see only from one vantage point, and yeah, so first I just went, I went the first time, I didn't know anyone, and I remember the taxi driver, I didn't want to go there. He's like, no, like this is dangerous, and I like, this perception of stuff, how sometimes, because you hear something about a certain kind of people, you create a full phantasm about them, and you're scared of them, and me growing up in France, sometimes there's place in Paris, in the suburb of Paris, where people tell you, oh, this is dangerous, and actually people are like human beings like you and I, If you enter a place like a cowboy, and you think that, rolling and pretending like you're strong, of course people will be like, what's wrong with this guy? But if you come, I think with humility, and you're like, okay, look, I'm an artist, I would like to create an art piece in your neighborhood. What do I need to do? And that's what actually happened. I went straight to the church, and in the Der Saman, like the Saint Simon Monastery. And there, I met this guy from the church, was working in the church, and then I told him, look, I'm an artist, and I would like to create this art piece over all those houses. How do I convince each person? And then the guy said, like, you don't need to convince anyone. You need to convince the priest, And then we managed to see the priest, and then the priest blessed the project, and this is how we did it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
The sound is good?
No, sound is good. It's a little loud. We're going to turn it down here. Yeah. It's good. It's too loud.
So, like I said, yeah, okay.
No, keep going. You're good. Keep going.
Yeah. So what I was saying is that it's a really organic process. It's like the idea, the place, getting to know the community first, and then once the community open their place to you, this is it, we're done, And for example, the project in Egypt was not sponsored, it was we didn't get any governmental authorization. It was made from within the people, and this is what I loved actually about this project.
And how long from the beginning to when you first drove into the community when that taxi driver didn't want you to do it until the time you actually started painting?
From the first thought, until the finishing of the project, it was 1 year, So it was like 1 year to prepare,
Right.
Because we had to ship the paint from France to Cairo. Then I had to come, it took me 5 months to convince the priest.
Right.
And also there was like, why those 5 months? Because it took me 5 months actually to to find, what I was going to write on those buildings, and the priest wanted to know. And then it took us less than a month to do the full painting. So me, I was tracing, and then I was writing the number of the color, and my team, they were just filling up, So we had like a team of 20 people, 9 people from my team and 11 people from the neighborhood.
And so so when you do public art, it works on lots of different scales. I mean, the city, maybe the whole world might have known about the project. The city of Cairo might have seen the project. And then there's the people in the community who are personally affected. So talk about how the art can work at different levels and it has different values.
I think, today, when we speak about value, people, they always see the monetary part of it. You know what I mean? And I strongly believe, that public art bring more than this. It can, of course, affect sometimes the economy of a place. When you can see here in the States, for example, in Wynwood, or this name in Dallas, this place in Dallas that I visited last week, I forgot, depict. But also, it's when I talk about value, is the value that you bring to the people, how people perceive themselves. You know what I mean? Because when you go to a place, and me, that's always the same thing. That I like this art, because when you go to a place, all the time people, they ask me why did you come here? You know what I mean? And I remember this quote from this camel breeders in Tunisia a few years ago. He told me, sometimes you need somebody from outside to tell you how beautiful you are. And people sometimes they forget. And when I was in Cairo, I told them, I say, the job that you're doing, what you're doing, there is no one in the world that can do that. And actually, the artwork was a way to celebrate that. To say look at how those people are useful. And the people of Manchet Nasa, they're so proud of themselves. And me, I learned that when I was there. I used to call them Zabbalin. Zabbalin means the people of the garbage. And then people there say we're not the Zabbalin. The Zabbal are the people of Cairo, because they're the people who produce the garbage. Us, we just work out of it, And then you understand how they perceive themselves. And then, after the project, they were telling me so many people are coming to visit the neighborhood, coming to visit the church. They come to see actually the artwork. And then it gives them this feeling of pride, they feel important. And I think this is the value, above everything, the value that you give to the people, which is important to me.
So let's talk about another public art project, because everyone here probably knows that one. But tell us a little bit about another public art project, and it's really courageous just to jump in and try to make a project happen out of nothing. It's like magic. What are the other magical elements that you bring to it to make these things happen?
It's a leap of faith, on everything you do. For example, a few months ago we were I went with my team in Nepal, so we scouted, I wanted to speak about, women empowerment, and gender equality. And I found, that after the earthquake of 2015 in Nepal, women, they took a leading role, in the reconstruction of the country. So a lot of women have been trained into construction work. Some have been building, they've been producing some earthquake-resistant bricks, and rebuilding their homes, with those bricks. Actually, it looks like a Lego, and then if there's a new earthquake, the house can move, but it's not gonna fall apart. And so we went scouting last March with my team, and we found this, through a friend of mine, we found this village, 3 hours away from Kathmandu, a village of 60 houses, mostly rebuilt by the woman, So we went, and I'm like, I would love to do a project with you. And they're like, okay, and they were so open to it, at the beginning. And then we organized the whole logistic, and we came back actually in September with my team. We spent 1 month in this mountain, in this little village, remote village. Actually, you really need this big truck, to be able to go on the top of the hill. It's 1,500 meter high in the mountain. And I spent a month there, and I was not speaking Nepali. The only thing in Nepali that I learned was the name of the color, So, I could tell them, okay, here you put some red, here you put some blue. And so I get a group of 12 women who helped me for a month, with my team creating this artwork. And it was made of painting, of fabrics, and bamboo. And what I love about this project is at the end of the project, the last day when we finished, we managed to take our drone shot and picture and everything. And the same night there was a storm, and the storm is just destroyed part of the artwork, like part of the fabrics and the bamboo. We put everything on the floor. And me, I come in the morning, I'm like, all this for that. I'm like, at least we know we have the picture, we have everything. And then what's funny is like the woman, in less than 3 hours, is like, this piece belongs to us, we cannot leave it like that. They just put back everything as it was, and they say, we own this artwork, now it's part of our community, and so you see like this feeling of ownership and proud, and pride that sometimes artwork can create, and what I love, what I found interesting about this woman is how amazing they were, and when you speak to them, they always, and that was the same in Cairo. That's all the places that I go. I'm like, this is crazy what you're doing. Your life is amazing and what you do is amazing. And they're always like, we're normal, like there's nothing special about us, And for me as an artist, I'm not here I'm not here to speak on their behalf. I'm here like to use my work as an amplifier of their voices, And when you build, for example, I always say that when I was there, I was telling them, when you think of building a house, you always have like unconsciously this image of a man, like the man, in French we say like l'homme bâtisseur, like a man who is building the house. And but when you think of building a home, you have the image of a woman, and those women, they build a house and a home, which I believe like they're like a superpower. And and like I said, beyond the artwork now, we're working with Quartier Philanthropy, to create this education program, because we noticed that actually women in these remote places in Nepal, actually they drop out of school when they're 16 or 15, then they just get married and have a baby, and then when the baby is 15, when the kid is 15 or 16, they drop out of school, and there is this cycle that keeps going. And so far, like we managed to have like three girls and women going back to, one is at university, one she's back to high school, and one actually she's getting trained. She's taking like intense training in English.
So these are all women from that same community who did the
Exactly, yeah. From a village called Girancho.
And so do you guys go back every now and then or hear back from them besides that? What's happening in the community?
For example, Cairo, I did that 6 years ago. Last week I was on the phone, with one guy of the neighborhood. Nepal, yesterday I was texting with one of them, so we always in touch. For example, even the women who don't speak English, sometimes they call me on FaceTime, and like we just say namaste, we laugh like for 1 minute, everybody's saying hello, and that's it. It's I think we have a universal language which is smiling, and our face can translate so many emotions and so many good feelings. So this is how I look at it. But I keep in touch, of course, and we're going back one guy of my team is going back in a few weeks, and me hopefully in March or April I might go back.
Right. Well, and also by putting a spotlight on different communities that don't always have a spotlight, you're bringing value to them in a way that's so important and giving them their own sense of respect and honor and value. It's really kind of some of the power of the work that you're doing. So maybe talk a little bit about, if you can talk about any projects you guys are thinking about doing or want to do in the future that haven't been done yet that you can talk about.
No, I don't speak about stuff that I didn't do. I like to keep it as a surprise, but I think it's easy when you follow me on Instagram. I always drop a hint of what I'm planning to do, but I let people interpret, but I don't like to speak about stuff that I didn't do,
But are you planning some things? Are there some things in the work? You don't have to say what they are, but are you guys moving forward with some public work?
Yeah, thank God, always on the move, which is the most, I think, exciting part. We're working on different projects in different places all around the world, so hopefully 2022 will show some of them. And so
let's talk a little bit about scale, because scale is so important for artwork, and especially the work that you've done, at least some of the public work, the scale is huge. Like we just saw a project like Christo, and he's done, like the scale that he works is really huge. Talk about how do you scale up, from personal stuff to this large scale.
I say that when you want to speak about a subject, if you want to catch the attention of people, you need to create something that's eye-catching. For example, if I wanted to speak about perception in Cairo, and I would just have done a small a small wall, you know, like people say like, oh, it's beautiful, nice, you know, and same in Nepal, same in Toronto, like in all the places, you know, and I think people might think it's a kind of megalo, you know, all the guys that want to do always like crazy stuff, but I sometimes the big leap of faith, sometimes the challenge, and sometimes it's, you know, honestly between me and you, I mean, and all the people in the room, it's sometimes it's an error of calculation. You know, for example, Cairo was not supposed to be this big. It was me who made the mistake, you know, in the way I scaled it, and I was like, damn, this is too huge, you know, so, but it came out fine, you know, so, but sometimes it's coincidence, you know, like in my head, when I plan something, I don't see it as big as it's done when it's finished, you know. Even Nepal, the piece is like 170 meters, and, you know, when you do it on Photoshop, it looks super tiny, but when you're on the field, you're like, oh, I wish I just did like 20 meters.
Right. Well, that's good. That's good to think big. It's good to kind of keep everyone thinking big. I have plenty of questions, but I want to know if anyone in the audience, you have any questions for Prezi, if anyone has any kind of thoughts or questions about, yeah, we have one question there. I want to just bring it out a little bit, just, I mean, I could talk to you for hours, but let's see what...
Sure.
So, hi, and I have a quick question, like, if someone is interested to collaborate with you, what could be the steps for that? If someone interested to collaborate with you, a designer or an artist, how they reach out for you?
Did you hear that, or you want me to repeat it?
I heard interested in collaborating with you, and then it cut. So what's the end of the question?
So the question is, if someone wanted to collaborate with you or get, you know, how does that process work? Or, you know, how do they get involved?
I think I'm really into how do you say that? I like first the connection. You know what I mean? Like when I say you know, like the first thing that I get with the people, and I'm not talking about big brand or like artist collaboration. It's always a question of feeling. How do you get along with the person? You know, and for me it's a question of that. You know, we meet halfway. You know, with the person that I collaborate with. You know, it's always not a win-win thing, but it has to be a win-win for both, but also it's a process, you know. I met people, and then, you know, like we will like each other work, we become friends. We don't speak about collaboration, and then collaboration at the beginning is not what we think of, and then later, like actually we should do something together, you know. So I think it's a really organic process, and it's me. I'm really into like the human connection, you know, because I remember like a few years ago we had this famous luxury brand who approached me for a collab, you know, and actually like I didn't like the person the person that I met I was supposed to collaborate, you know, was I don't want to give too much detail. It was just weird, you know, like the way he was talking. I was like, I don't like this vibe, you know, and I step out, you know, and that's it.
You know, as an architect, I always tell young architects, it's important to pick the right clients. Don't just take anything you get, but like because, you know, it might sound easy in the beginning just to take whatever comes your way, but then you end up going down a path that you may not want to go on, and you might just end up doing shitty architecture because someone gives you a job. So I think it's really important to pick your clients well. You know, it's like, as you said, collaboration.
Yeah, but because you actually it's a relationship, and you know, as an artist, you as an architect, you're an artist as well. So there's part of you that get into this, you know, and sometimes, you know, like you need to find the right people, you know, like, and you have to be on the same mindset, you know, and sometimes people they're not. So
yeah,
you know, so it's like I said, it's really a human connection first.
Right, and I love your core principles. It's love, respect, and joy. You know, there was a third one of your core principles, and you know, you got to be on that page if you want to work together with you. Let's see. Any other questions? Yeah, come up here. Sit up. It's much better if you do the question. Come sit here.
There is another question, someone here also from the audience, and I have also another quick question. What's your favorite artwork and why? Your favorite artwork or art piece you have made and why?
My favorite artwork and why? Hello.
That's a mean question.
So, you know, it's difficult. It's like you're asking me if I like my daughter, if I like my mom. Question, you know, I think each of my artwork are linked, with a special moments, and I always say like I like those human experiences, those little moments that I spend with the people. So each of them is really special to me, and there is one I would love to share now if you want. It's for example, I did a small wall like 10 years ago in Melbourne, Australia, and while I was painting it, there was this little girl. She came to me and she held my hand and she told me, "Look, I would like to talk to you in private." And I'm like, "Okay." So we sat on some stairs and then she said, "My name is Hadia and I love nature, I love animals, and I would like to be an artist like you when I grow up." And then she wrote her name actually on a piece of paper and the date, which was 19 October 2012, and she gave it to me and said, "Keep this piece of paper so you always remember me." And I kept the piece of paper in my wallet for years, and actually, starting from 2016, I was like, you know what, it would be so funny to find a Hadia. So every October 19, I was posting like a picture of this piece of paper and the picture of me and Hadia. And actually, like every year, like couldn't find her. And a few months ago, there is a woman, she was watching one interview of me in Australia where I was talking about Hadia, and we finally found her, which is after 10 years. And she was like, "This is crazy, you kept this piece of paper in your wallet for 10 years. And she didn't even remember, this moment because she was 8. And for me, this wall, this artwork is not like my best artwork, but I love this art piece that I did in Australia just because of this moment and this story with this woman, with this little girl who became now, she's 18, she's a young woman, So it's difficult to, I think each artwork has a special story.
That's cool. Okay.
Sorry, like my response was really long.
No, it's a good
short
one.
question.
Great one. Adam Fauzi, wish you were here with us in person, but I'm very happy you've joined us. Can you tell us more about how you started your creative practice? I think you have a very interesting story.
Yeah, like from the beginning, you mean? Or
Yes, from the beginning.
I
do know
I was
because you don't have a.
Sorry?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I do.
Because I do know that you didn't study art. You don't have, initially you didn't have that background. So it's interesting to know how you ventured into this sort of world.
Yeah. I was born and raised in France, so I didn't have like any art people, in our circle. I come from a modest family. And art was something that I like, I always used to draw and paint and stuff, but I never thought I could make it a career. I never thought I would be like today speaking about art and creating art around the world, which is, alhamdulillah, amazing. So I studied economics and I went to business school, and I used to be a business consultant. I mean, my last job was a business consultant, and I quit I quit almost 12 years ago. I quit the day before my daughter Maya, she was born in 2010. I was like, if I don't take the leap of faith now, there's no point. So I'm like, I'm gonna quit and focus on my baby, and focus on my art, And so it was like two stuff. I mean, I love my daughter and I love what I do. So I always tell her, like, you came as a blessing. I should have called you Baraka instead of Maya. And so and then it was a slow process. It was it was organic, and I didn't study art, and I don't think I would study art. I think art school is good, because he teach you techniques. You know what I mean? But I don't think art school create artists. I think you don't become an artist. You are an artist or you're not. This is something that's in you that you feed. And sometimes you kill. This artist part by doing something that is not artistic or creative. But if you're creative, I think you know it from a really young age. And this is something that you need to feed. We need artists. There is more doctors and lawyers than artists. I think can even say it's easier to be a doctor or lawyer than an artist. But it's important to show also to younger generation this is something you can do, and to show also the importance of art and artists in society. So yeah.
And And artists are kind of like the central nervous system of our society. And it's really important as artists that we keep the whole system in tune. And when things get out of balance, like what's happening in the world now.
I don't hear you, Kai.
When things get out of, I mean, artists are like the central nervous system of society. And when things get out of balance, it's up to the artist to kind of help bring things back into balance and help reconnect the world. And so I think, what you're doing, what other artists are doing is just critically important for our own sanity as humans.
It's cutting.
You can't hear it?
I can hear the question.
It wasn't a question, it was a statement. But did someone else have one question? Yeah, come on up here, you can ask one more, we have time for one more question, and then we'll...
Okay.
Come on up here, see, it's better up here, that way you have a face to the person giving the question.
شكرا يا فوزي.
عايش.
Hold on, we're working with our technology here.
Hi. I've been following you since so long, and I really like your work a lot. So one of the factors that I find that, beside the fact that you've taken calligraphy to a whole other world, that the facades or the places that you put your work in and the form you do it, it's really unexpected. I have been following you since long, and I'm always eager to know what's the next. So what's the next? So thank you for this, because you're not boring at all. And one more thing, when you started your career, did you have any I want to do my artwork on the pyramids, for example, or a certain place in your head that you wanted to go, or it's still on your bucket list? That's one question. And another one, we have another question that I want to ask, is how do you finance your community work, or am I wording it right?
You're doing great.
I think what she hasn't heard is how do you finance your artwork to put it into the community? So
Okay.
The financing.
Yeah. So yeah, I will respond. So the first question, there is so many places that I would love to put my artwork in, which is, I like, like you said, I love to create in places that is, nobody expects me. This kind of surprise. So you think I will be here, but then you find me in another place, and that's the challenge, that's the challenge. And what is difficult, as an artist, it's always to renew yourself, because you always fall in this comfort zone. When people start liking your work, you're like, okay, it's cool, and then you don't want to make any effort. But, alhamdulillah, thank God, in my team, I have people who always beat me on the head and Fawzi, this is too easy, okay, Fawzi, please, try something else. And so, they challenge me. My wife, she challenged me a lot, actually, in my work. But, the point is always finding the unexpected, where you don't expect me. And that's why, for example, the least expected one, I think, was the DMZ, between North and South Korea. For me, that was I would never thought, you tell me 10 years ago, hey, you're gonna have one piece at the border of North and South Korea. I'd be like, this is impossible, but we found a way to make it, which is cool. And regarding the second question about the financing, there's two kind of project that I do. There is personal project, where I choose to go, and there's commission artwork where people they commission me for a mural or something. But I always decide what I'm gonna write and the subject that I wanna talk about. And I do art show, one gallery show where I sell my artwork. So people they collect my work, So there is part of the money that I make with the commission project, part of the money that I do that I get from gallery show, from collector buying my artwork. Part of the money that I do by selling lithograph, giving talks sometime, or collaboration. There's a percentage of this that goes into financing a project. You know what I mean? And then, we just Always, I mean, it's all in-house. There's no one from outside. You know, always have a key, somebody like contacts and stuff that help us on the ground, obviously, but it's like a really like a in-house process. And so I always say to people, you know, like even when somebody buy a book at $20 on my website, indirectly is participating, you know, into the next project, you know, and that's how I look at it. So, you know, I'm not capable of doing it. I execute the project, but all the collector, all the people who support me, directly or indirectly, they're part of it, you know. So, yeah.
I think that's a great process because it allows you not to be worried about, not that that you get to choose the projects you want to do rather than having it be funded by a government or a church or a mosque or something like that. So I think so we've taken a lot of your time. We really appreciate you spending some time with us, but we probably should wrap it up here. It's the end of 4 days of a Film My Design, and we had a great couple of days. So this is the final conversation of the festival, and we really appreciate your commitment to art and beauty and love, and we all hope to bring that to our own worlds. So thank you so much. Let's give Fuzzy a round of applause.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody in the crowd.